Welcome to New Life Live with Stephen Arterburn. For 35 years, New Life has been transforming lives one at a time thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's today's host, Becky Brown.
Hello, everybody. We are so glad that you joined us today. And by us, I mean Dr. Alice Benton and Dr. Jacqui Mack-Harris. We are here to answer your calls, and we're going to hopefully teach you something along the way. I'm so grateful that you spend time. I know over the years I've learned so much by listening that I'm just grateful to have this opportunity to even share with you all. So I'm just glad you're here. We're into the new year. We're on the first Friday of the new year, which is really exciting and all those kind of good things or maybe it might be a little exhausting. You can't believe that you made it through the week. All week long, it was like, is it Monday? Is it Tuesday? What day is it? But, I wonder what the best advice that you two would give your clients if they want to see something changed, repaired, or restored. And how do you help clients overcome discouragement that things will never change?
So for my clients, I talk with them about how important their thoughts are, how important what they say to themselves is, how important their beliefs are. And so we talk about what their truth is, what do they believe? And there's this part of the brain, the reticular activating system, that is designed to show us what we think. So if I say I want a yellow car, all of a sudden I'm going to notice all the yellow cars. If I say I'm going to go get a doctorate degree, I'm starting to notice doctoral programs. And if I say I'm always going to be broke, I'm nothing ever goes my way, then you'll always be broke. Nothing will ever go your way because that is what you are looking for. So we talk about how that has been playing out in their life and that there's evidence for that. And then we start to make a shift. So what do you really want? And we start to speak those things, and then they start to go after those things. And over the past few years, I have a few people in mind right now that I can see their path of change and growth just from changing the way they talked about themselves to themselves.
Wow. Mark said one time, beliefs are anchors. And so when you think about what you just said, Jacqui, if you believe you can, you probably can. Yeah. And if you can't, you can't. But to be paying attention to that. Alice, how about you? What would you, how do you help clients with this?
We have to check our fuel source, because if we have a desire to do something but we cannot make it happen, then we probably aren't fueled enough from the outside. So to access more energy and motivation, we've got to bring other good people around us to help. And there are at least 3 levels of this. It might just be a partner, a friend who wants to pursue a goal and will come alongside you. Adding a group of people that are pursuing a good goal, it taps into an energy source outside of ourselves. And the 3rd level is a coach or a counselor, to have a professional who helps add in information, wisdom, and that accountability. So most of us need all 3 fuel sources to start making a big change in our lives, and New Life can help connect you with all of them.
I think about the passage that we have as our theme verse here at New Life, which is Romans 12:2, be transformed by letting God change the way that you think. And one of those fuel sources, like you're talking about, Alice, is the Word of God. It is godly teaching, and it is allowing Christ to change us from the inside out. And He can do that. We had devotions this week, and the scripture was on 2 Corinthians 5:17. That we are a new creature in Christ. And isn't that the good news? That is the hope. When we're facing discouragement that a situation or something will not change, we can know and have hope that Christ is working in us and in our situations. And we need help. We need counselors, we need coaches, we need groups, and we need each other. And we need prayer, all those kind of things. So maybe this year you need to add something to your toolkit. We can help you with that. You can call us 1-800-229-3000. And we'll be back taking your calls. We got room for some more. 1-800-229-3000. Thanks for listening today.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit it's addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have Christ-centered partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. You know, every man's battle starts in a week, and things can really change for you if you're a man who's struggling with sexual integrity issues. We hear about these situations all the time, and we know that is help and there is a path forward to freedom in your life. And so just give us a call. We'll connect you. We'll talk to you about all the options that you have as far as scholarships. You know, we just know we've helped so many men over the years, and we want to be part of your future. So give us a call about Every Man's Battle. We're going to talk with Sue, who's calling us from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, listens on Sirius XM. Hi, Sue. Thanks for waiting. How can we help you today?
Hi. Thank you for taking my call. My call is about my daughter. She's 41 years old. She has a boyfriend, and they have a 3-year-old daughter. They've been together about 6 years, and now all they do is fight. They bought a home that is too expensive for them. There's debt. Everything's piling up, and they fight, and they fight, and they fight. She's been out, left him several times, and she's come here, and it never works. We get in a fight every time, and she walks out, tells me off. And when you were in D.C., I offered to pay for her to come to the intensive, and all she ever tells me is, I don't need it. The only one that needs therapy is you. And I'm constantly just get smart remarks from her. She had a rough childhood, and it's like she's living my life, what I had before. And her boyfriend's telling her to get out. She has to be out, and she has nowhere to go. And my question is, what am I to do? My husband said she cannot come here. How do I deal with this and put my daughter on the streets? She has nowhere to go.
Gosh, Sue, we hear the pain. This is a difficult situation. Jacqui, how would you begin?
Well, that just sounds so hard to have her not be able to go along with her boyfriend, her baby's father, and then come and she can't get along with you either. And have you ever, Sue, gone to therapy? You said your daughter.
Oh, yeah.
So did you work through a lot of the things that she went through?
Well, I had called you, and I got a therapist, and she went twice, and again told me the only one that needs this therapy, Mom, is you.
Well, but so you went?
Yes, and I'm in therapy now. Our daughter has a lot of problems getting along with people. She tells people off in a heartbeat. Somebody said to me that they can't help but wonder if she has borderline personality.
It's possible she's struggling interpersonally. That might be a part of the problem. You said she looks like she's living out generational trauma. She's experiencing what you experienced. And, Chris Williams taught me this. If you don't, transform the trauma, you're going to transmit it, right? And transfer it. And so you're doing the work now, but she was raised by the unhealthy you. and is now she has her own trauma response to that, but is also now maybe repeating some of the behaviors you had. And you telling her to go to therapy isn't going to solve anything. Really, it's about you getting the care that you can get for yourself to take care of any guilt you may have over how she is right now. Your struggles may have impacted her, and I wonder how much that is now impacting you, and that she's, likely to become homeless because she can't get along with anybody, to stay with anyone. How is that working? How is that impacting you, and are you working on that in your therapy with your therapist?
Well, yes. I haven't talked to her this week yet. And it's affected me greatly. Actually, some days I wonder how I'm going to make it. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah. Well, and Sue, I wonder, I don't know if you know, but you can have more counseling. Like, you don't have to wait. Like, you're in a crisis situation and you're going to need more support, as this is breaking your heart.
Yes.
But I just want to encourage you in that way.
All right. I love her so much, and I've tried to always be honest with her and very transparent. And I just wonder if I made a mistake with that.
Well, Alice? Oh, go ahead, Jacqui.
Well, I was just going to say, at this point, it's done. So, whether or not you made a mistake, we can't go back and undo it. I would pray about it, and so that you can release yourself from it and forgive yourself as you are doing the work to get healthy right now.
Okay.
Sue, as she's turned down so many of your offers to her, what is she asking for from you as she faces losing her housing?
Well, she's asking to come here.
She has, and you've already.
And my husband says no.
And have you already told her that it's not an option? Okay. And do you know what she plans to do next?
My plan?
What she plans to do next, knowing she can't go to your home.
I don't.
Okay.
I was asked. My therapist asked me if she had a social worker. So I said to her, "Do you have a social worker?" And she said, "Yes, I do." Imagine that. And I'm like, well, I'm glad to hear that, because they can help you. But everything is just a smart remark. And
she's a very tough person to ask because she is hurtful in her reactivity to you. And I think it keeps you feeling guilty and very responsible. I heard you say you are putting her on the streets. And I know it feels like that. But even though you made mistakes as a mom, you are no longer responsible for what she chooses to do or the help she chooses to reject.
That's
So
right.
now it's time to decide, what can you offer her, as you can't offer her a roof over her head, but perhaps you can help her with the first month's rent or the security deposit. Or perhaps you can connect her to the Salvation Army rehab facility or a group home, so that maybe you can offer her resources, but even then be prepared that she might turn it all down. And as parents of adult children, we have to allow them to give us a no, as painful as that is. Now, if you're worried about the safety of your grandchild, then keep in the back of your mind as a plan B, if your grandchild is put into a dangerous situation or is living on the streets, that's when Child Protective Services can come in and can assist to keep your granddaughter safe. I also want to connect you with NAMI, which is the National Alliance for Mental Illness, because it is for family members of a person who's struggling with something like borderline disorder or living on the verge of homelessness. They can provide you with resources that you can then offer to your daughter also.
Sue, the hardest part of watching our adult kids make poor choices is it brings up all of the stuff because we were imperfect parents. It just is a reality. If you gave birth to children, you are going to mess up. It just is, it's our humanness. But we have this illusion that if we do everything right, then they're going to be happy and well adjusted and live life fully. And I wish that were true. we would probably be out of business if that were true. But the reality is we got stuff, and they've got stuff, and she's 41. She's been living life on her own, and it's causing a lot of pain. And I want you to be able to get to that place where you have some objectivity. I don't know if she's got drug or alcohol use, but this is what we talk about when we're dealing with parents of adult sons and daughters who deal with addiction. It's that distance. It's hard, but that's where you got to get your support. We can get you connected with the Life Recovery Group as well as some of the options that we just talked about. So we're going to also go ahead.
I was
Jacqui.
thinking about the book, Take Your Life Back.
Yeah, I think that's a great suggestion, Jacqui, and we'll send that to you, Sue. We're so glad that you reached out, and we hear your heartbreak. We'll be praying for you and your daughter and her boyfriend. This whole situation
And the
is being
grandbaby.
played out. Yeah. What'd you say?
And the grandbaby.
Yeah, and it really is so tough. We just really need to lift up this family in prayer. And Sue, just know that we've got you in prayer, and we're going to be praying for just a great response. We want your daughter to have a good life, and the trauma response can be real tricky because we think that it's intentional. A lot of times, it's just a reaction that's coming, like both of you have alluded to. And it can be kind of crazy making in a relationship.
Yep.
We're going to go back to the calls, and we're going to talk with Stacy, who's calling us from Virginia, listens on WAVA. Hi, Stacy. Thanks for calling. How can we help you today?
Hi, I am so grateful that you could take my call. I've been listening to you guys for almost 8 years and benefited from workshops and books and just programs like today's program. Thank you so much for being on the air.
Well, we're glad you called, Stacy.
Thank you. I'm struggling with my third child, who is now 22, and she and I are opposites. He's just like her dad, who decided he wanted to divorce me about 2 years ago and didn't really give me a choice. He kept the chair warm in our counseling sessions, but didn't pour out his heart. He's an avoider. She's an avoider. And I just feel like I want to have her know that I am always there for her, and I just want to spend time with her, especially while she's home from school. She graduates in May, and then she'll be off to the working world, and says she does not want to come back to live in this area. And my question, I guess, is boundaries. When I feel like I'm being yo-yoed, or I feel like I want her to know I care enough to ask, but I don't want to be yelled at because I ask too many questions, which anything more than 2 questions is too many questions. So what do I do?
Stacy, you mentioned that both your ex-husband and your daughter are avoiders. Which love style are you?
I am probably, I can't remember the others. Not.
So the others are
the others three?
Are vacillator, pleaser, controller,
Probably.
and victim.
I would say vacillator, pleaser.
Okay. So it's really tough for the avoider to tolerate the vacillator's reactions to things. The anxiety builds in you. And then there is maybe when she was growing up, an outburst. And then once that outburst is, and then the vacillator usually has a good reason. There was an ideal that didn't get met, and they become frustrated. And when you can't contain that, there's a blow up. But that really affects avoiders deeply. They aren't, because they're not working through the emotion, it's just sitting there. And so while you have expressed your emotion and now you feel better, they're holding it. And so she's got a really big bag of pain that she's been holding on to from throughout her youth. She doesn't want to come back home to live. When she's there with you, she probably tries to avoid you as much as possible. You have an image in your mind of what the relationship between you and your 22-year-old should look like, and you're pulling for that, I'm assuming. That's going to
Yeah,
be
definitely.
part of the work is for you to find some balance because your ideal is not hers. You're going to have to meet her where she is and let her be her and love her that way. But that's going to be tough.
Yeah. Stacy, hold on. You can hear the music. We're going to come back after the break and finish this conversation. It is true. We have expectations, and we have to recognize them. And I think it's significant too, Stacy. She's the youngest of the three. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay. So see, that's a whole new chapter. It's a whole new chapter. But we're glad you called. Alice is going to take a stab at it after the break, and we might hear from Jacqui again. But we are here for you. We want to help you in these kind of transitions that are just natural part of life, and want it to be good because there's many more years in front of you. We'll be right back after this.
When you give to the New Life Scholarship Fund, you're giving someone hope for a brighter future.
I was kind of in the closet and hid with my struggle. Your donation really made the difference, especially in my situation, because I would up getting laid off from my job.
At the New Life Intensives, hurting people are able to begin a new path towards healing and freedom that has an effect on all of those around them.
I think the people who support New Life financially are people that I'll never know. You know, I'll never be able to thank them personally for the gift that they gave to us. Their giving saved me, my husband, and our family from being torn apart.
To help hurting people to connect to the help they need, make your gift to the Scholarship Fund at newlife.com or by calling 1-800-NEW-LIFE and specifying scholarships.
Someone called and sponsored me to come this weekend. Whoever that is, just know that you saved a life. Literally, you saved my life.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
I was sort of vaguely familiar that the 12 steps had some origination in the Bible. I found Life Recovery, and one of the things I liked so much was that it had such a broad appeal. It wasn't limited to just alcohol or drugs, that it was addressing a wide range of problems.
At New Life, we believe everyone can benefit from a life recovery experience. There are life recovery groups all over the country. They take place online, in conference calls, and in person. And if there isn't one in your area, we can help you start one. We have startup materials, leaders' guides, CDs, Bibles, and more, all with discounts available for groups. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE and ask for Terry Ward. The 12 Steps have long been a great help to people in recovery because much of the 12 Steps' power comes from the fact that they capture principles clearly revealed in the Bible.
The 12 steps is really a pattern for all of us as Christians.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. We are talking with Stacy, whose 22-year-old college daughter's ready to set sail, and there's a little bit of difficulty. Alice, how would you help Stacy with this?
Well, Stacy, I would say you're a little bit ahead of the game because you already know some of the things that lead to frustration on your daughter's side when she's in conversation with you. And when we're willing to bring that out into the open before it happens the next time, and even with gentle curiosity, ask your daughter about it, acknowledging, I know it gets frustrating when I ask you too many questions, and gosh, I do that to you. Will you tell me what that's like? Because I've been noticing you get a little frustrated with me, and I could tell your voice changes when that happens. So I want to hear about it from you before I do it again, so that I can help change my behavior, so that I can be different. Now, Stacy, this is tough to do because don't you have the right to ask your daughter questions? But you know that there's a sensitivity there, and she has a low tolerance level, probably for a variety of reasons. So I'd encourage you to offer that kind of conversation to her, and that's that getting the beam out of our own eye. That's doing our own work. But then you can also protect yourself from her disrespectful anger that does get to be too much by letting her know. I would do this in two in 2 separate conversations to also let her know after you do that cleanup work. It does get uncomfortable for me when you get upset and you get a little loud with me. So if that happens, I may need to step away from the conversation. And then I'll come back. We'll reconnect again later, but I'm going to step away if it gets a little bit too heated, just so that we don't hurt each other in the conversation. Stacy, how would it be to offer those things to her?
I think that's wonderful, because I try to foresee that limited questions, and she says, I don't want to talk about it, and you keep pushing, but I feel that I say something and she immediately gets defensive or dismissive and doesn't want to talk about it, and I feel like you haven't even heard. And so I'm going to offer, I've offered her, please, I see you're upset. What have I done or not done? And I don't want to talk about it. I told you that. And so I just don't know where to begin, even though I can offer, and I love that you suggested for me to recognize and verbalize that I'm offering. I see that you get upset. I don't want to upset you, but I do want to know if I can change something. And he just shuts me down anyway.
Stacy, in your marriage, did you have conversations like that, where you were trying
my husband would shut me down too.
He would shut you down. So when you would say, "Can you talk to me?" he would say, "I don't want to talk about it. It's nothing. It's fine." And so she's doing the same thing, and you're doing the same thing. It's not going to work any differently with her than it did with him. You have a desire to know something so that it feels better for you. And just like you have every right to ask her questions, she has every right to not answer them. If you want peace, you're going to have to release her from the prison of your expectations, and you'll have peace for yourself. She'll have peace. You believe it should be something that it isn't. And
I aspire that one day it could be better. That's my whole. It was very difficult when she was young. A lot of stressors, not just in the marriage, but just in the schedule, and a lot of things that I was volatile, and I know that hurt all of the kids. But
and so that volatility,
get my husband to hear me.
That volatility left a mark. It was a pattern.
Yeah.
It is an expectation she now has of you. And so your continued questioning and pushing just feels like it did with Dad. And she's not going to want to get into a conversation with you, because once she shares something, you'll have something to share in response to explain why you did what you did. And that's not going to work. When she does open up and share something, don't give her your apologetics. Don't give her your reason why. Just mirror back what she has experienced. And right now, what she's saying is, I've experienced conflict in conversation with you, and I don't want to have any more. And one of the good things you could do would be to honor that, that boundary, and that would show that this is different, because now you're doing the same thing she grew up with.
And Jacqui, to that point, anything, Stacy, that she hears from you seems like you're yelling.
Yep.
It's not what your intention is, but that's how she's experiencing it. And when we talk about the love styles or the attachment styles, our goal is to move towards secure attachment. And so what's getting upended in your life right now is it's not what you wanted. And you're at the end of this lifelong struggle with her, and you want so much more. You want to connect with her. That's normal. But the hard part is the disruption inside of you is continuing the disconnection with her. And the first process that you have to get into is accepting that she is who she is, and we're going to move forward in a different way. But that's going to require you to do your work, and she may never do anything different. But you can show up in a different way and have a better relationship with her, even as she goes and takes on the world. It's hard, but it is part of the process. Do you have a copy of How We Love, Stacy?
I've been listening to that, and Healing is a Choice, and Take Your Life Back. I went to the workshop. I just feel like I've done so much to research this and figure it out. But thank you for your words today, the guidance. I greatly appreciate it.
I'm going to send you a copy of How We Love, and I'm going to get you connected with a counselor in your area because I think that's going to be very helpful as you continue to look for answers, Stacy, that's honoring you and the work that you're doing. We'll be back after this break.
We all have struggled with weight problems all our lives. This involves not only the health side of it, but the spiritual side of it.
If you're ready to begin a comprehensive plan that provides freedom in every area of your life, New Life's Lose It for Life online intensive can help. This online intensive features Zoom sessions presented by Steve Arterburn and Elena Al-Sharu on Saturday, January 27th, plus 4 small group process sessions facilitated by a credentialed New Life Network counselor.
Of all the things, the best part for me was the small group time.
If you're finally ready to stop going from diet to diet and begin a comprehensive plan that addresses the psychological, emotional, and spiritual aspects of a healthy lifestyle, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 or go to newlife.com.
It is a life change. It is not a diet. It is not just a plan. It is a life change.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
I have given to New Life regularly because I have so many people that I am referring to New Life who so benefit from the ministry. I just can't imagine what would happen in my area if New Life wasn't available to us.
You can help New Life Live stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the new member thank you gift of all 8 100-day devotionals, including 100 Days of Prayer, 100 Days of Freedom from Depression, and 100 Days of Peace. There are also ongoing benefits like the monthly Club New Life CD or download, access to the Club New Life video library, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, discounts on workshops, and quarterly online meetings with Steve. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. We're so glad you called. You know, January 27th, we're going to do Lose It for Life online, and it's going to feature Elena Al-Sharu, who's part of our network of counselors. She's been with us for many years, and she's going to be our guest on Monday's show. And so you can tune in and hear all the great things that Elena has to share. She has such a sweet spirit, and she's very knowledgeable and can make exercise not the evil word that it feels like to so many of us. So I hope that you'll check it out. If Lose It for Life has not been part of your past, maybe it's part of your future, and you can check it out at newlife.com or give us a call at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We are going to go to the calls, and we're going to talk with Howard, who's calling us from Monroe, Georgia, listens online, and we're so glad you called. Howard, how can we help you today?
Yes, I found you on brokenbelievers.com. It has a list of different help places and also for Christian counseling. And briefly, I talked to Jeff, and I was telling him I'm a third-generation cult member. If I say the name, I'm sure you've heard of it, a Christian cult. And I've done a lot of things, prayed to Satan and those kind of things. And I really got to the point where I just got so fed up one day, and I've had contact. I started seeing since about March 6. Every time my cell phone, I would see 336666. Even on my clock, I would see 333, and I knew it was a warning to me. And even I look at the angel numbers; they were telling me, you have to get your life with God together, and you have a blessing coming. But I really didn't follow through with it, and actually things start crashing for me. So you were one of the people that I went to your website and everything like that. I'm doing much better. But one thing I can say is that God will allow you to get warnings, and I really realized that if I listened to the warning, I probably wouldn't have to have a lot of financial loss, have a lot of problems. But going to listen to your call, your radio show, and other things. It really was one of the real things that got my faith back. So my question basically is, how do you really get, I'm codependent on people. My father was a very great man, and everything at the organization I was with was a cult. I want to have a personal relationship. Everybody can say they have a personal relationship with God, but I want to really feel that God is my number one person that I rely to.
Okay, Howard.
In a nutshell.
I am so grateful that you called. I'm glad that you got out of the cult, and I think we can help you. Alice, you want to start?
Howard, the answer might be a little bit surprising because having that personal relationship with God involves getting other healthy, stable, and trustworthy people around us, which may be very difficult to do as you've left a family system and a belief system. And I'm curious, are you a little isolated now that you've come out of the cult, or have you connected with a new community?
Honestly, yes. I guess I've gotten that point. I've always had 2 or 3 friends, but to answer your question, it is hard for me, especially when you're in the cult. If you know the name of it, you're not supposed to be with people outside the cult. And I want to keep that. Well, I'm sure you probably could figure it out. It's only a couple of Christian cults that they're large, one of the largest in the world. But yes, it's their programming. Only everybody else. We're the only true religion. Everybody else is fake. You get that programming from childhood.
So you are up against a lifelong rule, and you've already rebelled by stepping out of the cult, and it would be another level of rebellion to then get engaged at a deep level with other people outside of it. And it may be that because it's such a high risk to do that, and it's so unfamiliar to you, you may need to start out with a professional relationship first before you broaden that in figuring out how do you even decipher who a safe, trustworthy person is in the world outside of the cult that you grew up in. And so considering trying out coaching or trying out counseling so that you can learn how to evaluate people and evaluate whether or not you want to bring them in closer in relationship. It can take it's a learning curve because you have bravely stepped out of that system.
And that's great.
And then I think as you start to restore your ability to maybe read people and feel comfortable with people, then moving into a life recovery group would be really good, and maybe even doing the emotional freedom workshop at some point. But
I agree.
Yeah, getting connected with believers, people who are Bible believers who are reading Scripture for what Scripture says, and I think that there's going to be some maybe discomfort for you in even learning from others about Scripture because of coming out of the cult. So finding your own devotional time or space for you to be with God, just you and God, whatever that looks like, whether that's getting up in the morning and reading and having an actual devotional or going through the Bible in a year, but you want a personal relationship with God, read the Bible. And
go.
Just read the Bible. The words in the Bible will guide you, but you have to have it for yourself. And often people are getting their Bible from a pulpit, what the pastor says. You read it for yourself.
Howard, we're going to send you a copy of the 1-year Life Recovery Prayer Devotional. It's for the month of January. We're giving that to say thank you for any gift of any amount, but we're going to send that to you because I think that'll get you started in the right direction. We'll also get you connected with the Life Recovery group in your area. Like you said, Jacqui, it's going to take more than just a desire to make the changes. And like you alluded to, Alice, there's a lot of changes that have to be made that are going to disrupt some of those lifelong thought processes. But there's hope, and I can't wait to see how God's going to work in your life. Thanks for calling, Howard. We're going to go back to the calls, and we're going to talk to Latera, who's calling us from Savannah, Georgia, listens on the podcast, and you can too. You can download wherever you get your podcast. And I just want to take a minute and say, if you're listening on the podcast, you can call us Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 1 to 3 Eastern Time, 1-800-229-3000. We are going to talk with Latera now, and I'm so glad you called. How can we help you?
Yes, thank you for taking my call. Now, I wanted to know, what's the best way to deal with an issue with an adult child who it's living out of the country and it's expecting to return. You want to keep your home open to them as parents. However, the last time she was with us, we experienced quite a few moments of hostility because she engaged in using marijuana, and that is not something that we believe in, and that's not something that we want in our home. And it created really quite a bit of a stir when she insisted that she use it in the home or to use it on our balcony, in which I didn't want either. She's expected to return in a couple of months, and I am already trying to figure out what will be the boundary set, but at the same time have a place where she can come home and be welcome.
And Tara, has she gotten engaged in any kind of structured program or help that would give you reason to believe it might be better and different if you tried this again?
Not that I'm aware of.
And is she asking to return and live with you?
No, this is just a visit.
So she's just coming to visit.
She's coming to visit, so it's temporary.
Correct.
So could she stay at a hotel?
I don't think that's doable financially.
Okay. You have a boundary that she can't smoke marijuana at your house or around your house. Have you set that boundary with her?
I did, and that's what created a havoc.
The boundary still exists, though, so it created havoc when she was there the last time. Have you talked to her about it this time?
I have not spoken to her about that per se. She has just made the announcement that she will be coming home in a couple of months or so.
So,
the interesting thing is, prior to her leaving, our relationship was really, really tettered, but we have really rebuilt our relationship over the last 4 or 5 months that she's been away.
So you're fearful of tearing it down again?
Correct.
Okay.
Latera, you can hear the music. We're going to go to a break and come back. You know, the interesting thing is, it's great that you've reconnected, but there's still this unspoken thing that we're just going to avoid, and it's creating the tension that you're experiencing right now. But I think that's the strength of a relationship, though, when you can be vulnerable and honest and be able to hear each other. We'll talk about this. We talk about this all the time with adult kids. It's always something, and it may not be marijuana. It might be something else. But we want to have good relationships. We want to have honest relationships. And the ability to have difficult conversations can make a strong relationship. We'll be right back after this break.
We all face days where life throws us a curveball and our routines or plans get disrupted. Things we wanted to do are forced to take a backseat to the unexpected demands of the day. If you normally listen to New Life Live on a radio station, well, you might not be able to that day. And on these hectic days when you're feeling stressed or frazzled, hearing the sound of counsel given on New Life Live is just what you need to navigate the unexpected things of life.
Every time I'm troubled or I have a problem, I'll cut on New Life, and there's always something that is said that is helpful to me.
By listening, I have learned more than I can ever express about how God wants me to live.
Download the New Life app for the easiest way to listen wherever you are and at a time that's convenient for you, or watch the show on our YouTube channel. You can even subscribe to our podcast from your favorite podcast provider. You never have to miss a day of New Life. Wherever you are, we are.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for over 34 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
I'm an addict, and I'm trying to get God in my life again.
Our Christ-centered treatment programs can help you break free to embrace all that God has for your life and your family.
I just want to thank you guys for bringing me to a relationship with Jesus.
There really is help for marital problems, depression, addictions, panic attacks, and feelings of hopelessness.
I came back with so many tools to help me prepare myself to
fight this struggle and this battle that I have every day.
You can start living again today, living the life God intended for you. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
They did care, and they did follow up very lovingly, and it made all the difference in my life.
Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Someone who cares is waiting at the other end of the phone. God can open the door to a better tomorrow. Call 1-800-639-5433.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. We are so glad you joined us, and I just want to give a shout out to all of our Club New Life members who help us. If you're interested in being part of Club New Life, you are giving on a monthly basis that helps us do ministry in so many ways, and we're so grateful for those of you who commit to that. We're actually going to have our first Zoom meeting where I will be sharing about change, and not the change you get from the grocery store. But if you are interested in being part of the Club New Life family and help New Life do all that we do to help people get transformation in their life, give us a call, 1-800-NEW-LIFE, or go to newlife.com for all the information. Right now, we are talking with Latera, who has an adult daughter who is using marijuana. And the last visit home, there was a little bit of a, thing because she was smoking at home and it's not okay. Well, she's getting ready to visit again. And so let's continue the conversation. Alice, what do you have for Latera?
Latera, although this is difficult, it'll be important to bring it up sooner than later with these couple of months you have before she comes back. And I might advise that you start with, hey, I'm so glad that we are closer. I feel more connected with you, and I really want to protect this closer connection that we have. So let's talk about how this visit will work, because we struggled last time. And if you want to stay with us, our boundaries are still the same. So you might not want to stay with us, and you've got a couple months to figure that out, but we definitely want to see you. And so you might strategize with her if there's a friend that would have her stay with them rather than with you. But Latera, you might also decide, are you going to hold the same standard? I would probably want to if I were in your shoes, but you're deciding, it feels like you're deciding between maintaining the closeness with your daughter or risking that closeness by keeping the same standard of, I don't want you using while you're in my home. But start this brainstorming with her sooner rather than later so that you can hopefully come to some kind of a compromise.
How do you feel about having that conversation with her?
I feel it's doable. I feel I can have that conversation.
Okay. And how do you feel about the possibility that she could come home and not stay with you?
I would prefer that she did spend time with us. But that's not something that I'm going to binge on.
Okay.
It's something that I just I feel very strongly about.
And that's okay. Yeah. That's okay. Latera, we talked about at the break that, setting a boundary, you also have to be prepared for the feelings that come with whether she doesn't want to do it or not, or how it feels that, there may be a disconnection, but it's okay to have those feelings, but you just gotta know that they're going to come. So it's good that you've made the decision. And like Alice said, you better start talking about it now, right?
And when I set a boundary with my children that I know they will dislike, I give them permission to dislike it and to tell me what they think about it, but I stick to my decision. And that helps ease my heart, Latera, when I allow them to vent a little bit that they don't like what I'm doing. It's annoying. My standards are so high. I let them talk that out if they can stay respectful in the way that they say it to me. And that protects the closeness in our relationship, but it also protects my standards.
And teaches them how to talk about what they're feeling rather than shut it down.
That's right. We're so glad you called, Latera. And we're going to send you a copy of Doing Life with Your Adult Children. And I think that'll help you along this way. We're going to go to one more call. Real quick, we're going to talk to Dora, who's calling us from Chicago, watches us on YouTube. And grateful that you found us on YouTube, Dora. And what can we do to help you in the final moments of this show?
Well, good afternoon, ladies, and thank you so much for having me on the show. I am definitely an avid listener, but I'm calling on behalf of a good friend of mine. She has a daughter who recently got married, and they've been married a little over 6 months, and her daughter was enrolled in a seminary college, had got accepted, rather prestigious one, and she was very happy about that before they got married. But during the term of their marriage, in discussing it further with finances, her husband, he very strongly suggested that she consider withdrawing. She expressed the other day to her mom, or actually her big sister, which told her mom, that she was disappointed in doing so because she really had wanted to continue in this endeavor. The reason for them making this decision is because the husband feels, and she agrees with him because she's trying to be a good wife, that at this time their finances, they need to focus on that because they'd like to purchase a home and hopefully within the next year and a half, start a family. Of course, this is a discussion, but at the same time, they have some rather extravagant vacations planned. One of them to go to Disney World or Land in Japan, and some other things. So her daughter is kind of caught between, yes, we want to do this before we start a family, but I'm also sad because I had to let go of school. So my friend is asking, how can they come to an equal medium with each other without there being resentment in their marriage, being that they've been married just a little over 6 months?
It's a good question, Dora. We only have a few minutes. Jacqui, what would you say when couples discover some of the differences in those early years of marriage?
I would encourage them to keep talking about it. She's agreed. I heard a pastor once say that sometimes in his wife's submission, she would be, if he said sit down, she'd be sitting but standing in her heart. And so I wonder if she is, she's agreed to withdraw, but not in her heart. And that is where the bitterness will start to grow. And so even if she continues with not going to school, I do think it needs to continue to be a conversation because he's getting to choose what their priorities are. And it's about marriage and children and a house and all those things, but she may not be fulfilled, and in 25 years she'll be at a lawyer's office because her kids will be grown and the house will be paid off and she won't have done a life she wants to do. So she needs to be still talking about it and get some therapy, get a counselor that can join with them in the conversation and help them negotiate it.
That's it. Alice?
Okay.
Submission can be such a beautiful, life-giving principle. And if she is able to surrender for the time being, schooling, and do so willingly, then this may work out very well for the two of them and for their marriage. And so doing regular heart checks of, am I angry? Am I frustrated about it? And admitting that out loud to her husband. And if they can do it within the structure of the comfort circle, which is just a style of active listening found in Mylan and Kay's book, How We Love, then being heard in the frustration and being understood is the way that resentment can be resolved, even if she doesn't return to school right now.
I love that. Thank you, Dora. We're going to send you a copy of that book, How We Love, that you could pass along to this couple. And we'll be doing Intimacy and Marriage in February in Orange County. And I know that's on the other side of the country from you, but maybe they live over there. It's a great way for couples to really get a handle on communication and connection. And it's not just, love more and be nice to each other. It's real practical help. And we've helped so many couples over the years. We're glad you called for your friend. We want to get the start on a good marriage in those early years. And that's what those challenges can provide a way to get stronger in your relationship. We're so grateful that you listened today and that you called. I'm so grateful for you, Alice, and for you, Jacqui, and the wisdom that you bring. And for you listeners, we are here for you. Give us a call sometime. Let us help you have a good year. I mean, we got 360 some days left. We can do it. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again on Monday for New Life Live.
Thanks for watching today. We love helping people. I hope you sense that. And we know that there's always hope if you find the right resource. Now, if something we've said to somebody else applies to you, that's fantastic. That's what we're hoping for. But also, if you want to join us directly, you can call 1-800-229-3000 between 1 and 3 Eastern Time, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Those are the best times to get through. And while you're here on YouTube, check out these other videos that we've done to help people see where they could grow or a different path to take. And if you do that, would you give us a thumbs up on the video, and please subscribe to this channel. There are many ways that we can help you outside of the radio program, and it's very hard for some to pick up a phone and dial 1-800-NEW-LIFE, but when you do, we put you in touch with somebody who cares about you, knows all the resources out there, and they're going to find the best for you. There is no reason to struggle alone. I hope to see you tomorrow. Hope you'll invite somebody else to come and join that maybe needs just a little bit of help along the way. I'll see you next time.